It's Missing Real with Mike Darrigo. Well, it sounds awesome. Let's go.
I told you he was tricky. I told you he was false.
Hey, I hope you're not talking about me, you scrawny little runt, or I'll wring your neck.
Yes.
Oh, gosh. I know I shouldn't have said ring. All right, anyhow, here we are, another epic episode of Missing Real, and we're going to take a really amazing journey now to explore the Lord of the Rings trilogy, traveling to Middle-earth, which is actually quite far from here. So we're going to have to zoom over. I have a companion on this journey with me today, a very special guest who knows a lot about Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. So here we go, traveling to Middle-earth. We'll be there in just a moment. Zoom. Wow, looks beautiful. So sorry you guys can't see it, but maybe better headphones someday. All right, so here we are in Middle-earth, and I told you I wasn't coming here by myself, so I want to bring on a guest, a special guest. Let's have a little chat with my good friend over from LA, Lisa Blake Mitchell. How are you, Lisa?
Hey, I'm doing great, thanks.
So nice to see you and hear from you again. How's everything?
Same here. Everything's great. I mean, excluding the pandemic thing.
Yeah,
but,
we don't talk about things like that.
But let's pretend like that's not happening. Everything's great.
We're trying to pretend, yeah, but the social distancing thing does have its plus side. Now we could just Zoom things and expand our creativity like this.
Definitely.
Well, for those of you who don't already know Lisa, and shame on you, I've known Lisa for quite a while. We met through some mutual friends in LA around the time, when was it, I guess? Was it about the time when Ford was president? And by that, I mean Harrison Ford?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. I was getting a little worried that you were going to date me.
No. I'm sure I'd be a little more dated in that sense. But yeah, we met around 1996, 97, I guess. Air Force One was playing. That's my anchor, I guess, to the time. But
oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, Lisa's a friend of some friends, and we hung out a bunch. And she's well, what do you want to tell us about yourself, Lisa?
I'm just totally cool. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I'll vouch for you.
I'm an actress out here. I have 2 daughters. You may hear some thumping in the background. That's them above me, and I can't really do anything about that.
It's okay. Right? They'll get credits, at the end of the show.
Okay.
They do some Foley work for us.
But yeah, I mean, since having kids, my acting life has changed a little bit, and I've gotten into script writing and just more filmmaking, that
Beautiful.
Kind of thing.
Well, I mean, I remember you when you were doing extra stuff, and you appeared. I was always looking for you in the background on Ally McBeal.
Yeah,
and you probably had some cool experiences on there and met some interesting people.
Absolutely. I mean, oh my gosh, that was the show to be on. If you wanted to meet anybody in the music industry, we had Sting, we had Elton John, we had Barry White. I mean, just so many cool people. and our guest stars were amazing too. I learned a lot about filmmaking on that show, just being in the background, but also being a stand-in and watching how they lit people, how much time it took. It's funny because my dad came in one time and I was actually filming a scene that I was cast in on Ally McBeal, and he marveled at the fact that I had maybe a 30-second spot on there, and I was there for 10 hours to shoot that.
Oh, so how many takes was that?
It's a well-oiled machine, but oh my gosh,
I hope by now you get it right the first time, but good.
Yeah, I know. It took me about 400 takes, but they were cool with that. No.
Yeah, no, that was a pretty big hit show back then. I'm so glad you were in there. And over the years, I found you here and there on stuff. And my favorite moment, I guess, was your one episode of Lost that you showed up on, because we were so geeked out about that show for a while.
I know. It was cool because my roommate, Sam, she was completely obsessed with Lost, and I loved it too. And that was like my dream. I was thinking if I could be on Lost, that would be amazing. And two of our friends were on it too. So actually got myself a part on there and got to film in Hawaii with the guy who played Locke.
Yeah. Terry
and
O'Quinn. Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, these are all like pretty top-notch actors, and just that show was a good showcase for them. Whatever the writing did, whatever directions it ended up going, it was still pretty amazing. Nothing else like that on TV.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you were there. So, and your own personal writing, acting, producing, you've done something pretty cool. You did a pretty neat web series that I've been checking out, and maybe you want to tell people about that.
Go ahead.
Well, it's called Namaste Bitches, and yeah, it seems like a bunch of ladies sitting in a living room meditating. And I was going to ask you to bring your little gong for my show.
It's actually on my phone. But
all right, we may want to use it before this is over, when we get ready to do our Lord of the Rings segment. Oh, by the way, did I even mention today we're doing Lord of the Rings? Yeah, we're doing a Lord of the Rings. But honestly, since we're talking so much here, we're honestly not going to go through every single scene of every single film, but we're going to cover it all somehow in record time. But Namaste Bitches is very funny, very cool show, and you should check it out. It's online.
You want to go to watch namastebitches.com.
And then you can
watch it.
This is being pitched as a feature, and someone may be interested in that. I don't want to say so much yet, but looking forward to that. Yeah.
Just that we've written a feature based on these 5 women, these characters, and it's quite a ride.
And one of those characters is you.
Well, hopefully I'll be played by like Olivia Munn or something like that.
All right, yeah.
Or Penny would be.
You have your dream casting choice?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope they don't let you down unless you yourself star in it, because you've already established that character. I mean, who could do it better?
Oh, well, lots of people.
Well, hopefully it's somebody you admire.
Yeah.
All right. So let's, what do you say we talk about some crazy epic Peter Jackson movies now? And we'll lead into that. And
yes,
that's what we're here for. Okay. Well, we were talking recently about, hey, let's collaborate a little bit. And by the way, you are the first woman to be on Missing Real. So thank you for the healthy burst of estrogen.
Welcome.
Yes.
I'm honored.
We need another perspective here, and us all as dudes. We have like a sausage geek fest,
right?
It's too much. But thank you for coming on. And we were trying to figure out what movie to talk about, or what movies. And I thought, like, well, what do you like? I mean, I know your musical taste is pretty cool. I remember when I was visiting in LA. Oh, you have an interesting music collection. You like Styx and Kansas and Tesla, the band, not the electrician, but you're into some cool music.
I like both. I appreciate both.
Of course. I mean, you couldn't have one without the other, right?
Right.
It'll be all acoustic from here on. But your movie tastes were always great, and we were both mutual fans of like Harrison Ford and Patrick Stewart and those kind of people and stuff that they do. But you're not much of a horror fan, and I asked you, like, well, what about horror movies? And you told me there was one horror movie you saw, and I was like, nah, that's enough. What was that movie you told me?
It was The Changeling with George C. Scott. So back in the 70s, that just did it for me. I was like,
too creepy?
Don't need to see any other horror movies.
It was a little creepy. I don't know. I mean, it seems like that movie, it was the wheelchair on fire or something. So yeah, it's like what Psycho did for showers, The Changeling do for wheelchairs. And that was
The Changeling and the bathroom floor, actually, for me.
It was a kind of creepy movie, but I'm surprised because it's a bit of an obscurity, and that was it. You never like even tried another horror movie. You never like discovered the grand world of John Carpenter or good stylish horror directors, or even some of Cronenberg's weirder stuff. My
imagination is very vivid, so it. I think that I kind of take it with me afterwards, and I don't really like that feeling. So I did try watching The Grudge, and that I couldn't get past.
Yeah. All right. Well, I see. There's like some easygoing, entry level horror stuff that's good, and maybe I could lead you to. But all right, because that's what I do a lot of sci-fi horror stuff, fantasy stuff, because real world is just too real, and it's not easy to make fun of. But you decided that Lord of the Rings would be a good one. And I said, yeah, why not? Because you said at some point for like a year you were obsessed with Lord of the Rings. And what point of your life was that? And what version of Lord of the Rings? Like, did you read Tolkien?
I did not. I was not a Lord of the Rings book person.
Me neither.
That I didn't. I mean, I have to admit something. I don't read that much. I just fall asleep really easily and really quickly. So, it's not that it's not interesting to me. It puts me to sleep. Like, I'm too tired.
He's not offended. The sales speak for themselves, but I had the patience or the psychosis to at least read 3 of the Frank Herbert Dune books, and that was enough.
Oh, wow.
It's like, yes, please make a movie for me so I don't have to, strain my eyes with and figure out what all these words mean. But the Lord of the Rings books, he started writing Hobbit stuff in like 1937, way before our time, right?
Yeah.
And then the animated Lord of the Rings, which I also never saw, came out in 78. And the only interesting thing about that is some good voice work in that. I mean, maybe back then I wouldn't have appreciated it quite as much, but we had the main people were John Hurt voicing Aragorn, which is cool. And who I would like to actually watch this now just to hear is Anthony Daniels played Legolas. So can you imagine that? Legolas, we know, is that very accurate, very fast archer, and having C-3PO doing his voice. I thought, every time he shot an orc, he'd be, I'm terribly sorry. Like, I am fluent in over 6 million forms of shooting arrows. And I thought that would be hilarious. But I don't know if he does that same voice for Legolas. But now we got Orlando Bloom. I guess nobody complained about that, right?
No, no complaints here for sure.
Yeah. Oh, so all right. I'm sorry. What was it about Lord of the Rings then that really captured you for that span of time?
I don't know what was going on in my life necessarily that was so specific, but it was just, I just felt like the movie itself was a game changer, especially with the special effects. Everything just looked so completely real, and I was just blown away. Like when the 2 towers came out, I just watching the ladders come up. I'm assuming anybody listening to this is going to have seen the movie.
Well, every shot. Yes. Even like the pre-visualization. Yes, we have it.
Right.
All right.
Going up to Helm's Deep, like when they started pulling those things up, the pit of my stomach, it just dropped. My stomach just dropped, and I was just like, oh god, they're totally doomed.
It's epic. It really is, and it looks really good. It's like the CG is not cheesy. It doesn't look like CGI.
No,
it's like back then. This was kind of like Star Wars was sort of faltering a bit with even like the special effects. They were trying a little bit too hard, and it was losing some of the essence and heart. But the Lord of the Rings flicks that Jackson did were pitch perfect, I think, in almost every way.
Yeah, I feel like we were really used to, set aside, what is his name in Star Wars?
The creator?
No.
Oh,
the guy that everybody hates, the CG.
Oh, Jar.R. Yeah.
Jar.R. Thank you. Sorry.
Yes, you hate him so much.
Set aside his annoying personality, but we were used to like the way that he moved, the kind of bounciness and
it was playful, and he almost counted as real enough to buy. He's fake, but he wasn't quite there. But they definitely worked on it, and they gave a lot of performance into that.
Yeah,
even though it was a reviled character.
When you compare that to Gollum, just miles and miles in technology.
Oh yeah, well, they finally got smart enough to use Andy Serkis for motion capture, but by the time they did that in Star Wars, he was Snoke. This is like another a complete errant fart of a character that really went nowhere. But yes, I have my Lord of the Rings outline, but of course I promised I'm not going to go over every damn scene because we would be here for eons. But how do you like Peter Jackson and his whatever he directed in his career?
So I was introduced to Peter Jackson with Lord of the Rings, and then I started looking at his other stuff. But he has so many different varieties of stuff. He started out kind of as a horror guy,
Very horror, yeah. Anybody who sees Lord of the Rings might not be prepared for, like, say, Dead Alive,
right? Which
is a hilarious movie if you love horror and blood and guts and splatter and things that don't look particularly high budget, but what the value in them is anyway. That's a priceless work of art right there.
Yeah. And in Lord of the Rings, with the theatrical release, they did have to edit a few of the those blood spurting things out of the movie.
Maybe, to keep it PG.
There's enough. There's enough violence and stuff, but the gore is different.
Yeah, he saved a whole lot of money on like ketchup and fake blood and animal intestines and whatever they use in the movies. But it's not, you're not there for the gore, even though there's some pretty disgusting looking stuff on the screen. It might frighten the little ones. It's like, you have to make it a little hardcore. You have to see that these hobbits and elves and whatever, they're up against something intimidating.
It's evil.
Yeah, where's the tension, right?
Right. And how do you encapsulate, how do you show what evil is? A lot of times we always say, oh, there's good. And then there's, everything has a good side and a bad side. But this that they're talking about is just pure evil. It's what they're up against and wants to destroy the entire planet.
This is what I also love about Lord of the Rings. The embodiment of pure evil is basically Sauron's eye.
Yeah.
And the form he takes is kind of makes me think he must have been listening to a little too much Alan Parsons Project, because what is he? The eye in the sky. He just turns around and looks everywhere, and that's what happens after he's defeated and the ring and his finger get chopped off, and he just becomes like this watchtower that floats around, and you better not let him catch you, right? But he also rallies up a lot of evil wizards and creatures. They're all kind of in thrall to him, whatever his influence is. I don't know if it's all subliminal or telepathic. I don't know. I never understood that aspect of it, but all right, I just buy it. He's evil, and it's outer worldly. I think it's the enticement of power that they could have. Yeah, well, he was a solid life, flesh and blood creature there. When they were fighting him off at the beginning, they tell you the story of the Ring of Power, or it's the last of several rings, if I'm getting this the narrative correct. Yeah, but the last ring is chopped off with his finger, and it ends up in the hands of Bilbo. At least
the one ring to rule them all.
Right. I don't know about the other rings. Yeah.
So he gave rings to the elves, to the dwarves, to the humans. He gave these rings, but these were less powerful. He had the one ring that ruled them all.
He got the good one, yeah. The stuff of legend, and no one knows if it's even still around, but I guess it is around, because without it being in existence, would Sauron's eye still be up there looking around?
What do you mean?
Oh, I mean, once the ring is, let's say in the beginning we have the ring and Sauron still there. He's still up there looking in through the sky, and he'll be there until the ring gets brought back.
Is destroyed.
Well, no, if it gets destroyed, then no more Sauron, right? That's the whole point. They want to. So what if it's not destroyed? What if it falls into the hands of somebody who's Sauron's sidekick? And
right,
he'll come back. He'll return.
Saruman or something.
Maybe, yeah. Even the names are kind of confusing. It's Saruman and Sauron. You got Boromir and Faramir. They could be a little more creative with the names, I think, because it's hard to keep all these characters straight. It's complicated. That's why I have this list in front of me.
That's what I know, but that's what you're proud of when you get all those names right.
Oh yeah, and you could just recite them. I could recite them in age order. Yeah, everybody. Well, we have a great cast though in Lord of the Rings. We got everything seems perfect. It's Elijah Wood was really great, and you just can't see anybody else as Frodo now. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's great, and him and Sean Astin are the main protagonists there. Him, and Samwise, Mr. Frodo. They have such a great bond between them. It's maybe more than brotherly, but whatever it is, it's devoted.
Created.
It's devoted.
I mean, the acting is superb, and that is one of the things. So being obsessed with it for a year as an actor, I would sit there and I'd watch it and just wish I could be or could have been part of this whole production. Just anything in it.
They could have fit you in, I think. There was a few hundred people in the cast. I mean, come on. If your headshot went past their casting desk, I'm sure you would have been in there somewhere.
That would have been awesome.
Even if it was the extended edition, some deleted scene, you could be some wench in the back of the tavern. I don't care, but at least you're in there,
I could have been a hobbit.
I wouldn't mind being an orc that just gets decapitated in one shot. All right, that was me. Yeah, I'd be happy. Ian McKellen, of course. There's nothing more regal than Sir Ian McKellen in this movie. Is just also perfect casting. And
what's really interesting is a movie like this. My husband Nick and I were talking, and there are a lot of Americans in the main cast.
Yeah, they weren't supposed to be. I think they wanted it to be all British, English, or
you think
Middle Earth people, but.
Maybe
you shouldn't shut certain people out, but so far, yeah. I mean, a couple of main people are Americans, but when it really counts, you get the Brits in there. I don't think anyone.
Frodo is American, right?
Yeah, who's putting on the fake accent? That's what we'll go through them later and see who's faking it. But yeah, he's pretty American. I think Elijah Wood, as is Sean Astin. If you were in Encino Man, you're definitely American.
Aragorn.
Well, yeah.
Liv Tyler. Or I should say Viggo Mortensen. I mean.
Oh yeah, well yeah, that's his real life name. But yeah, Aragorn's fine too. But he doesn't sound American, and that's the important part.
Right.
That name does not sound American at all. McKellen, though, interestingly enough, he modeled his accent on Tolkien himself, if anyone's ever heard Tolkien speak, or in interviews, if they had them back then. And did you realize that, speaking of Ian McKellen and his bud, Patrick Stewart turned down the role because he didn't really approve so much of the script. So, but him and McKellen are somewhat interchangeable, don't you think? Like, and I've seen them perform plays together.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're inseparable. They could have both been in this movie. It would have been cool. If Patrick Stewart played Saruman, that'd be fine too, right? They would have been.
But Christopher Lee, I mean,
of course, yeah. We're not going to even try to replace him. We cannot. But who else was actually offered this role and actually a deal of $10 million per film? I read that Sean Connery was offered the role of Gandalf. Well, he turned it down because he didn't understand the script.
No,
now you tell me something, but you understood Highlander too, didn't you? No, that made a lot of sense, didn't it? Yeah.
Probably because it was finished.
Yeah, maybe. No, but yeah, this was finished. Maybe he didn't have the patience to read the books.
That could be true. I mean, I'm glad.
Notes.
I love as much as I love Sean Connery's films, as much as I love them. I'm glad that Ian McKellen became Gandalf.
Yeah, Sean Connery does enough of those wizardly, tutor, mentor kind of characters that always end up dying tragically in the movie. But yeah, Gandalf survives a whole lot of stuff and keeps on coming back. Maybe just changes his name a little bit, or gets a new staff or whatever he does. Yeah. But Christopher Lee, incredible. Christopher Lee is the only cast member who actually met Tolkien and read Lord of the Rings. I think every year of his life he read Lord of the Rings. He was very, very scholarly about it. So I guess, he was a perfect choice to play anybody and he was the first cast in the movie, I believe.
Wow.
I just run through these people real quick because there's such a huge cast we have to talk about. But we got Viggo as Aragorn. He's excellent. And Liv Tyler's in the movie. Of course, we know that's Steven Tyler's daughter, and she actually does a little bit of singing in one of the scenes, but it's only in the extended cut, and I don't remember how she sounds, but I have all of her dad's albums. That's all that matters. How about Hugo Weaving as Elrond, with a little bit of a weave in his hair, I think.
Yeah, every single person had a wig on except for one person. Who was that? I can't remember.
This is some trivia I don't know.
Need a wig.
Definitely wasn't Elijah Wood, because that wasn't, maybe he could grow his hair like that.
I think it was actually one of the Jackson children.
Oh, okay.
One of Peter Jackson's children.
Yeah, which you have to need a wig. You got to really look hard to spot them, right? That's why you're in the movie. I'm not spending another cent on you. Liv Tyler's good. Hugo Weaving, when he first shows up on screen and face to face with Viggo Mortensen, all I wanted him to say was Mr. Aragorn. No such luck, though. How about our buddies, our two Hobbit pals who tag along, Merry and Pippin? You got Dominic Monaghan, who you also might have run into on Lost. I don't know if you ever met him.
I didn't, but my friend played his mom.
Oh, very good. Very good. Yeah, I was really hoping to get a signed copy of my Drive Shaft CD. I guess that's never going to happen now.
Not from me.
Oh well. One can hope. And there's Pippin, Billy Boyd, Kate Blanchett is in there as Galadriel. Kate Blanchett's an amazing actress too. She can play Bob Dylan, for God's sake. She's got range.
She's amazing.
I know. Legolas, who is, of course, we said, played by Orlando Bloom, and the wonderful John Rhys Davies as Gimli. Yep. Perfect characters, and I love the little banter between the two of them and their competitive orc killing scorecards.
Yeah,
they're hilarious. Yeah.
And he also was Treebeard's.
Yes. Yeah. He covers the deep voice Sean Connery gap that you might have by when providing all the deep voices you need in the movie. And yeah, Treebeard is very, very deep voice. I'm sure he's going to show up in this podcast somewhere if I find the right place. But yeah, okay. we need to move things along. We can't spend 5 minutes saying hello.
Exactly.
I think my last main character I want to throw in there, of course, is Sean Bean.
Oh yeah,
Boromir. Now Sean Bean is awesome, and sadly he does not survive the first Lord of the Rings movie. But
spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert! Look, guys, if you haven't seen it yet, just set aside.
I know, right?
9 hours and watch it, for crying out loud. You've had from like 1937 to learn this stuff. I don't know. Does Tolkien kill him off in the book? I don't even know. But he meets a very heroic but sad end. And even Sean Bean was afraid of flying. He had like agoraphobia of some sort. So he had to climb up some of the mountains that they shot on rather than get taken up in a helicopter. So good for you, man. That's dedication. It's like, look, if you can't get in the chopper, we're gonna have to recast. Oh no. I'm getting on my boots here, my pitons and my little axe, and I'm getting up there.
That's dedication.
It's impressive.
Just the amount that these actors went through, it's incredible. It is incredible how dedicated all of them were. They were all completely focused on making these films great. I mean,
it worked.
That's your act, that's your job. But just, it's so amazing, especially Andy Serkis.
Oh yeah. He mainly just gets his real debut in the second film. Yeah, I think he just does the voice for the first one, and they didn't fully realize the character on screen so much. You just see glimpses of him.
Yeah, his physicality and performance was what was Gollum.
Yeah, he's like the go-to guy from mocap now. It's just he's probably walking down the street every day with ping pong balls plastered to a black bodysuit. It's like, work is coming sometime. I must be ready for it. He started all that, and I think it's video games are using mocap now, and I guess he's probably like the king of that hill, though. Really, whatever you need mocap, if you can get him to do it, get him to do it. Everyone could try on the suit, but he does it well. He does it so well.
So in the audio commentary, they were talking about how he, when they were listening to all of the audition tapes for Gollum, they had them video.
Yeah.
They had them send in videos rather than just audio auditions.
Yeah.
And watching Andy Serkis and what he was doing, they actually, when they cast him, they gave his audition tape to Weta, their
the special effects
team, and said, "This is Gollum. This is what we want him to, basically do and be like." And that's amazing.
I can imagine what it's like to sit through all those tapes, and Peter Jackson's probably cringing, like, "Oh my God, like how many different ways do you say precious?"
They were talking about that too. It was like there was one scene with Faramir that everybody had to send in the audition tape, and he definitely said that. He said, after watching hundreds and hundreds of the same scene, you don't want to shoot that scene in the movie anymore.
But when you get it right, like you got to pretend it's like even when a band plays like the hit song every show, like year after year, every single venue in the world, they must be sick of it. But if it's that good, and maybe somebody hearing it for the first time, it's going to bring them such a So the first movie is great. I guess if people who've seen it know what happens, and the music. Yeah, before I forget about this, because every movie it's consistently scored by Howard Shore, whose music is really, really epic and grand. And I know his work earlier in his career was very, very weird, and he scored almost every single David Cronenberg movie, and naturally the music in those is a little bit psychotic and disturbing and dark and weird. And in Lord of the Rings, it's all like orchestral and choirs and very, very, it sort of sits in the epic landscape of the movies and the characters, and it's great stuff. There's also songs, there's vocals. Some of the songs, like before the Lord of the Rings movie came out, I wanted to get the soundtrack CD because it had 2 new songs by Enya. Now, I don't know if that makes me a candidate to sit in on Namaste Bitches one day, but need I remind you, I also survived the mosh pit at a Slayer concert. So, I'm not all new agey, holistic crystal.
No, your cool factor is gone.
I think I have, thank you. But Enya had some good songs. And also, there were vocals on this by another singer I love, Elizabeth Fraser, who sang in the Cocteau Twins and has probably the most angelic, otherworldly voice you'll ever hear. So she's in a little bit of one of the pieces of the soundtrack. So even before the movie was out, I said, I got to get the soundtrack. I got the soundtrack. And one of the track names says Lament for Gandalf. I was like, oh, wait a minute, man. Does something happen to him? It's like there's a spoiler alert in my CD track list. Like, I don't know. What if I don't know what happens to Gandalf? And now, he must have bit the bullet in this movie, and that's terrible. And
so that had a very big effect on you with when you saw it in it was the first movie, so
it was fantastic though. It's just the way that was done, where you really think everything's good and the Balrog is falling, and then you see that little red whip come out, and like it's worse than Obi-Wan in New Hope, when he gets chopped down. But it's like the sacrifice. And then, of course, he's a wizard, so he'll be back again. But that was excellent. And the whole first movie is fantastic. And they're just making their way to Mount Doom. It's going to take them a really long time to get there. like 2 more movies. And I know that the point was brought up, like, why can't they just fly it over? Like maybe the Eagles could lend them a hand. But I also found out that the Eagles have like, they don't take sides. Like they stay out of things. They're like Switzerland, you know, they're like a neutral, they're not going to help anybody drop
like
their
the
wing.
Ents.
Kind of like the Ents, right? But they get around quicker. But right, they cannot be political or any of that. So all right, that nixed that idea. And they didn't have any other flying things. They don't have even like a hot air balloon. They had nothing. They couldn't travel quickly to Mount Doom, and they have to go through all the terrain and all these orcs and things. And
well, if they had a hot air balloon, those ring wraiths would have gotten them.
Oh
really.
yeah, you can't really hide from, and they would outfly you, I'm sure. Well, but it's okay because every one of the movies, no matter how many hours you have to sit through, it's all great. And I'm sure, have you seen the extended cuts of all the movies?
Oh yes.
Yeah, right. And they're not boring at all, right? They
listen to all the commentaries.
Yeah, no, you love these movies, obviously. And I just didn't have the time to do the commentaries all over again, but I know I did when I first got these back then on DVD. They were released in, they came out in 2001, 2002, and 2003. And I think they were, at least the last 2 films were shot simultaneously. So like nobody aged noticeably. And
all 3 of them, yes.
Yeah, correct. So it was kind of consistent, and you didn't have to go back.
That's pretty much the only way you can do it.
Yeah.
It's the expense.
It's tricky.
You know,
I think the budget for just the computer animation and special effects was probably huge on its own, even without a single actor paycheck.
Right.
Let's jump into Two Towers, which also 2002. There was a little controversy about the title of the film because this was really just a year after 9/11. And there was concern that calling this movie The Two Towers and releasing it mainstream was going to be unsettling. But, due to the fact that it's a classic piece of literature, and you're not really going to change the name of something like that. I mean, in due time, I guess it'll be a little bit less of an impact, but it's The Two Towers. And I don't think it hurt the box office. It did fine. There was no protest of the movie as far as I recall.
Thank goodness. I mean,
it was a little bit of an escape from, the misery and grief of what the previous year brought. But the movie itself, it brings us a couple of new characters and great actors we love, like Brad Dourif is in there as Grima, Wormtongue.
So amazing. That one scene, this one scene was just indelible on me. I when he and Sauron are standing up there and he turns and he looks at the army that has been created.
Yeah.
And this one tear just goes down his face. That was captivating.
Did Weta add it in later on?
They did?
I don't know.
No.
He might be that good. He's method.
He's good.
Hold an onion there. Oh, okay. Now I like Brad Dourif.
He was in character the entire time he was shooting.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's actually like that in real life, because he's always played weird people.
Say while shooting, of course, he's in character while shooting, but during the whole shoot while he was on set. And then after all of it, some of the other actors met him and they were like, I didn't have any clue that he was American. Like they just thought that was his accent.
Very talented guy. I mean, all the way back to 75 and Cuckoo's Nest, which is probably like the wellspring of so many great actors and great careers. But he's in there. And I mean, I just tend to overlook that he's the voice of Chucky. Like, please give the guy a break. He's capable of so much more.
Make a paycheck.
He's got to. Yeah, I think he's doing it. He's doing it again sometime. There's a TV series. Like, all right, I'll do it, for crying out loud. Just pay me. I'm just waiting for him to reprise his role as Peter DeVries in Dune, but I don't think that's going to happen.
That would be cool if he showed up in the remake.
Somebody should show up there just for continuity. It's like, every time there's a damn Ghostbusters movies, of course you got to get like Bill Murray or Dan Aykroyd to pop in for no reason except just to go, hey, I'm from the original.
Maybe Linda Hunt will do it.
Hunt? Oh yeah, of course, the Shut Out Mates.
Oh no, but she gets.
Nah, but it could play a different character. Maybe it's her daughter who's the exact same height. I don't know. I want to see Alia all grown up because Alicia Witt could do something in a new Dune, right? But it's supposed to be the same story, so she can't be Alia because she's just supposed to be born. She kind of outgrew that already. Maybe
she could be Francesca, but they've already got her cast.
Oh, they got her, and I'm gonna love when they get her on. That's we're talking too much about Doom, but I really love Rebecca Ferguson. If she's gonna be Lady Jessica, yes. I'm there. I'll see that. All right, new people in Two Towers. Bernard Hill is very good. King Theoden. This guy played John Lennon in '85, and he was also the captain in Titanic. Yeah, nice steering, pal. But he's a
Oh,
decent king, I guess.
I
He's
didn't realize that. Oh my gosh.
yeah, he's into. I did my homework. That's the only thing
Yeah.
I'm reading from this trivia list of stuff that I got.
You don't need to tell everybody that.
Oh well, I want to. I mean, Bernard Hill. I need him. I need him to keep his fan base up there.
No, no, no. You don't need to tell everybody that you are reading off a list.
Oh, you think I'm just this knowledgeable? No, come
Yeah.
on. Not about everything. Honestly, when I first started doing these podcasts, I was just relying on things I could just pull off the top of my head, and the podcasts were very short. And now they're so much more rich and informative, and I even learned a few cool things and appreciate these films a bit more afterwards. Like now, every time I see Grima's tear falling, I'd be like, "Wow!" I'm going to think about that a different way now.
That's right.
He was thinking like, "Damn it! As soon as I finish this rap, I'm going back to do Seed of Chucky." He's like bawling. Oh boy. Okay, we have another woman in the movie now. We got Miranda Otto as Eowyn. I wasn't much a fan of hers, and I've only seen her in I think one movie. I think she was the neighbor's wife in What Lies Beneath, that 2000 Harrison Ford Michelle Pfeiffer flick. Yeah, she was
I just did not
memorable.
Watch that movie ever again.
Oh, you mean? Oh, well, yeah, it's a scary movie. That's right, I forgot. But I mean, even if you love Harrison Ford,
that was the problem. That was my problem. I'm sorry, I'm totally cutting in, but
no, go ahead. I want you to.
No, but Harrison Ford's character in that, I just couldn't. I was like, no, I really don't want to see Harrison Ford like this.
That you did, and that was part of the movie's, value. Was like, whoa, I didn't see that coming.
Right.
But yeah.
Another spoiler alert, by the way.
Spoiler alert. Well, come on. See, you got to see that too. If you like scary movies,
I'm going to be like, no, don't watch that movie.
It's a good one, unless you want to always love Harrison Ford. But, he's got to show he has some range too. I mean, I honestly think that his acting is not quite all that compared to just my fanboy love for the dude, but he could prove he's got some talent. I mean, if you see him in 42, I thought like, wow, like that was a stretch. The baseball with Jackie Robinson.
Oh, I didn't see that. No.
With Chadwick Boseman. Yeah. It's a terrific movie. Yeah, watch that. You should definitely watch that. Just don't expect to see him with hair, but it's Harrison Ford. All right, so back to Lord of the Rings and Middle Earth. So Miranda Otto doesn't really register, and she's kind of like flirting with Aragorn for the whole damn 2 movies, and he's just waiting for Liv Tyler to come back.
Poor Miranda.
Because I don't know. I'm sorry, Miranda Otto, but who would you rather date? Come on, man. Aerosmith's daughter or What Lies Beneath's neighbor's wife. Oh, let's not forget. Okay, Andy Serkis shows up. Incredible. He does.
Oh my gosh.
Gollum, and he was only going to do the voice, but then they saw how he moved, and they wanted him on set, so they shot every scene twice. Once with him on screen, once with him off. It's just the way they really put a lot of effort into that, and he's just been doing so many amazing things ever since. He plays a lot of apes, Kong and Caesar and Avengers. He's there in real life, and of course Snoke. But I don't know. He didn't do as much for Star Wars as I wish he did. He was just like overwhelmed by the rest of the special effects and by the shoddy writing. He never really got realized properly in that.
And that's the thing. I think that's what kind of blew me away about these movies when you kind of compare them with the Star Wars movies. Star Wars was highlighting all the special effects. This movie, to me, it wasn't saying, look at what we can do. It was like hiding all the special effects.
Right. It's like it's making it so believable and not showy in a way. Except occasionally, like when Legolas surfs off the tusk of that giant mammoth elephant thing, like, all right, that might have been fake.
Or mounts the horse.
Yeah, that too.
There were a couple of battle.
A couple of flips that don't look humanly possible in the world of physics.
Yeah, we were arguing about that. And I'm like, but that's an elf. An elf can do that. They defy gravity.
They're extremely agile, yeah. And they have great hair.
Yeah.
They all do.
They have a lot of time to do their hair.
They do. Whatever part of this podcast I wanted to stick this in and mention it is like if Liv Tyler brought her dad, Steven, to Rivendell to just have a look around, he would probably be tempted to just go, hey, you know what? Dude looks like a lady. Yeah. That's our buddy Legolas. He's a great archer. They all do. Carl Urban is in here. He's probably one of the few. I guess is he the native New Zealander of the cast? Because he's a Kiwi, yeah, and he's excellent in this.
Or is he Australian?
I think New Zealand. Oh. And that's probably why Peter Jackson is okay with that. Bring him on. Yeah, bring.
Well, everybody's okay with Carl Urban now.
Oh yeah, he is, man. Billy Butcher on The Boys, and he was back in. I don't know if you remember seeing him on Hercules and Xena. Back in the 90s, and he probably doesn't want to remember that either. But he's also Dr. McCoy on the new Star Treks, which is great for his.
That's right.
Very good casting on
Hello.
that. I would say hello. Yeah. He was a good cast on that. So he's awesome in there. And last but not least, but probably least, is David Wenham as Faramir.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he's kind of like Boromir, but he's like a boring Boromir.
Aww.
I think he's okay. He's like the backup Sean Bean.
And that's how his father thought of him.
Exactly.
Too.
No, it is. It is kind of heartbreaking with the way his dad treats him. But honestly, I mean, John Noble, he shows up a little bit, but he's in the third movie. John Noble playing Denethor. I like John Noble. He was in that show Fringe, I think, right? He was a very funny character on Fringe. Yeah. And I think John Rhys Davies originally auditioned to play Denethor, but no. Gimli. Be Gimli and Trigger.
Gimli. Plus, he was the right height.
He's the tallest of the actors, I heard.
Mm-hmm. John Rhys Davies is the right height to play a dwarf.
I think maybe. I don't know.
Because of the whole
you mean the forced perspective thing that they have to shoot? Oh, okay. Maybe you're right about that. Maybe they didn't have to have so many milk crates to stick people on.
Right.
And the little rolling platforms to keep all the shots consistent.
Right. Very
complicated shooting these hobbits. I would just think like shoot them separately and just like shrink down the image and mix it all in the computer.
Right. It's so incredible the amount of the thought that goes into not just how to tell the story and where you want to edit the books, because you're going to have the diehard fans of the books going, wait a second, he didn't say that. This person said that, or that didn't happen here. But they have such logic and reasoning behind when they're showing this book in film form and telling these stories, that they have to change these things around too.
They did a very nice job with the screenplay and just arranging or condensing certain scenes and characters. If you haven't read the books, there's nothing to complain about. Like, that's not faithful, that's not canon. Or that character never shows up. I think they did at least invent one character, at least in some of these movies, or maybe later on, I think they did in the Hobbit movies. But this Helm's Deep finale with the battle there, it's as epic as it gets, really. And I think it was a 4-month shoot to get that thing done.
Ooh.
Way better than any of the battles of the last season of Game of Thrones. And at least the lights were on, too.
Right.
Gotta say, that you can't top the Peter Jackson battle sequences.
They're awesome. They've got everything in them. Oh, one of the things that they did say that I found interesting was he said basically, when we're editing this scene, clearly they had hours and hours of footage. Mm-hmm. You can't go more than maybe 7 scenes or cuts or frames without showing one of the heroes.
There's like an editing rule.
Yeah. And he was saying we either want to see, Legolas, Aragorn, Gimli, or one of the other two, like the kings.
Well, right. Yeah. You have to be rooted in what's going on with the main characters. And, it might start looking like a music video. Okay.
Exactly.
He goes tossing his hair and then firing an arrow. But it works.
Fast.
The pacing is perfect. The editing is great. It doesn't feel like you're sitting there for 3 hours. It's just, you just want more and you hate it when it's over. And the ending of Two Towers is kind of like very, very, I can't wait to see what happens next. Because, Gollum is going to be leading them to a very dangerous place as they're trying to get to Mount Doom with the ring and just drop it in the fire.
That's right.
Well, when we finally got Return of the King, this was like major anticipation. And this movie, it finally got the love. I mean, it got 11 Oscars, 11 noms, and it won them all. And none of the other movies won anything, but they were all nominated. But this time, they brought home everything. It was so terrific. And it's just the songs. The songs are still good, but I don't know. The Annie Lennox song won an Oscar. Pretty good song, I guess. Maybe not her best, but like I said, you have to have some songs in these movies. There's always a theme song. As long as it's not Celine Dion doing the Titanic song, that one was a little bit too syrupy for me.
Oh, that was good for a while. It was awesome for a while, and then it was overplayed, just like any song.
But this song probably wouldn't ever get to that point just because you don't hear it much, but it was a nice song. I think this movie really delivered because just so many cool things we're waiting for finally happen.
Yeah.
We get that whole walk up the stairs. Is it Cirith Ungol? I don't know all the names of the places. If I say them wrong, you gotta forgive me. But
I don't know.
Going up the steps and the betrayal, and Gollum makes him send Sam packing, and he's all crying, Mr. Frodo, can't you say he's a villain? So I can't go on with you anymore, Sam. It's just great. It's very well done. He really puts a lot of faith in Gollum, leading there. I know he's you know your buddy's right here, but you're gonna follow this little scrawny motion cap dude up the rest of the mountain, and he
wasn't a motion cap.
He's just what if they just messed up one shot? Like, oh, we forgot to fix this when you see Andy Serkis crawling around with the ping pong balls on his butt, going up to follow me, hobbitches. Oh no! But
they talked a lot about. I'm going to interject a little bit about the relationship and the trust that they put in Gollum, or that Frodo put in Gollum, is because, and they talked about this. They're both addicted. They're both addicts for this ring.
Well, once you put it on, that's when you get hooked. It's like your first.
Well, you don't even have to put it on. He's carrying it. He just feels the weight of it.
Just touching it, I guess. Yeah, it's just a ring, man. But it's one ring.
Just possessing it, really.
Yeah.
It being your own, mine, my own, you know, and how the addicts, they forsake their friends, their family for a hit. And when they find a fellow addict, they bond. And that's what his bond and his trust and his following Gollum. Even though you can't really trust them, you trust them more than your friend and family who's just trying to get you off it.
That's true. And of course, he knows that in order to finish his task and complete this one-way ticket that he believes he's only one who can accomplish it to save the whole world, he's got to follow the one who he believes knows the way to get him there. And just hope he could just keep his own grubby paws off of it until he gets ready to drop it in.
Yeah.
But he's leading him to a very dangerous place, the lair of Shelob, this really great spider monster, which is probably the best spider ever on a film or in a movie, especially after seeing Stephen King's It on TV in the 90s. Please, like anything would top that. And they definitely topped that. It was incredible. Great scene. The whole thing.
Yes. Very creepy.
Didn't scare you too much? You could still watch that?
No, that doesn't bother me.
Oh, okay. It's good because it's kind of horror, but it's adventure.
It was short enough.
Oh, okay. All right. I mean, if he's
not a 2-hour movie.
If the entire movie was like Jaws, but with a big giant spider coming up and killing people every 10 minutes, then maybe you could.
Yeah.
And very gorily disemboweling them. Yeah. That would freak you. I'm sorry. I already ruined it for you now. Well, one of the awesome things happened in this movie, I really love like the whole thing with Faramir trying to please his dad. Denethor is he's such a tool, man. I mean, he's on the throne, but he's really not a king. He's the steward of the castle until the king returns. Because he should just be fetching you soup or something, but he thinks he's a king, and he doesn't appreciate Faramir. He's always like comparing him to Sean Bean, like, so you think simply because you bear a vague resemblance to Sean Bean that I should have favor for you as well? Were you in Patriot Games? Were you in GoldenEye? Were you in Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones.
No, but I'm in Lord of the Rings. So is Sean Bean. So he tries to please his dad. He comes back like, beaten and almost dead. And then Denethor wants to set him on fire and pour well, first he listens to some songs. He has Pip in there, right? Like as his little Hobbit servant.
That was a nice song.
The song is nice. He should have brought the Dominic Monaghan. Hey, how about this, man? You all, everybody. You like Drive Shaft? And I was like, get out of my court. But Denethor's only accomplishment really seems to be just finishing all the chicken on his plate. I don't know. What else is he really qualified?
Popping the cherry tomatoes out of his mouth.
Yeah, the photography in that is very, very visceral. Yeah. You can like feel the juice on your face when he bites into those. It's disgusting, but very good filmmaking, I got to say. And it makes him just like more loathsome and like, what's he doing there?
Despicable.
But actually, I know it's almost
heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking his relationship with.
Yeah. With but it's very beautiful and sad at the same time when he ends up like finally waking up like, Faramir, he burns to death just as he's about to burn Faramir. But like he finally sees the light, even though it's the light of flames, they're about to incinerate him.
Yeah.
Oh, but it makes me think about Bernard Hill when Theoden was in the chair and he was just all like emaciated and old, and then Gandalf comes in and just like sticks him with the magic staff and poof, he turns normal again, and beautiful, right? And then he unfortunately
he was possessed. He was possessed by Sauron.
Yeah, and he had like Brad Dourif creeping him out and giving him instructions, like hissing in his ear.
Yeah,
like
Saruman. He was possessed by Saruman, not Sauron. Sorry.
Oh, one of those guys whose name sounds the same. Oh, let's talk about Saruman one more time because I'm going to forget. The theatrical cut of Return of the King. You don't really see what happens with Sauron. I'm Saruman, like it's not in the movie. So you did see the extended cut, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we find, this is the thing. Like, there's this huge tower in Isengard where Christopher Lee is up there at the top with Grima. And they have this nice scene where he confronts Theoden and Gandalf from on the ground. And they have the final showdown. And the scene got cut from the theatrical, and Christopher Lee was pretty pissed off with Peter Jackson about that. It's like, I know I climbed up 30 stories and to be in this tower thing, and you cut me out.
I had to be airlifted.
What's with that? Huh? I mean, I played Dracula, but you suck. Yeah, but he got it back in there. I mean, you don't cut that. That scene was very important. And there was another cool scene in the extended cut, which you don't really see in the regular, the mouth of Sauron. Like, finally, he gets something else to go along with that eye to give him some like body parts. So he's got this guy with the big teeth, played by Bruce Spence from
I didn't remember.
The Road Warrior. He just like talks about like your little hobbit is dead, and his teeth go. You didn't see that part? He has like the biggest smile.
I couldn't remember. Oh, okay.
It's good.
I vaguely remember that.
Watch that again. It's fun. It's not really an essential scene, but it's good to have it there. It just gives you something really very cool.
It's like you know who in Harry Potter.
Kinda, yeah.
Little by little, he's coming back.
Right. But yeah, he just gets like one piece at a time. This is like his proxy or his stand-in. This movie, when it was wrapped, well, when it won its Best Picture Oscar, they were still actually shooting for the extended cut. That's how much they dug making this movie. Like, let's keep it up. I'm not going to win anymore. It's still not good enough, but keep shooting, because I'm really happy they make those extended cuts for the true purists who want to see everything. And it all works out. Like, the extra footage really fits in seamlessly. It's so good.
Yeah, they were talking about how all the promotions that they had to do, which you do for a film, kind of set them back like six weeks in shooting and stuff, because they were still writing parts of the script. They were still writing scenes that had to be reshot or stuff like that. So
they did a great job on it. I mean, nothing seems like it was just hacked or tacked in like sloppy. It was perfect. And I only like to watch the extended cuts now. If I have the time, I watch them. Like almost every movie I love that in the extended cut, if there's time to sit through the whole thing, do it. Because if you watch the regular one, I'm like, yeah, I really missed that other scene. Like, now I got to start all over again. I don't want to just watch the deleted scene. I want everything integrated into the timeline. It's just so much better. Let's give one more shout out to Miranda Otto, because she has one good scene. After she serves bad soup to Aragorn, at least she redeems herself by killing the Witch King.
I am no man.
But I guess you're still not woman enough for Vigo either. But she does great. That's a great scene. Kills the Witch King. Her dad is squished by his own horse, and well, we get through all the awesome scenes. We get through the Shelob. We get to Mount Doom, and Gollum we think is gone, but he's still there to the very end, and he bites off a little more than he can chew. He gets Frodo's finger, and he gets his ring. Everything falls into the lava like it's supposed to.
Yes.
Very satisfying ending, although it's really not over for a long, long time. It's like there's a lot of extended goodbyes and reunions and things, but it's beautiful. Yes. It really is. And when we finally find out that Liv Tyler stayed, she came back to be with Aragorn and to live a mortal life instead of hanging out with all the elves for eternity. That's pretty sweet too.
For now.
Yeah, it is. I mean, time will tell. You're going to start aging, and but I mean, there's enough. I don't know. Was there anything left out that you think this movie, didn't deliver? Were you expecting anything else that was not resolved?
No, I mean, I was fully satisfied.
It's great. Yeah. Did you like the Hobbit movies then, which followed? Did you see those?
I did. I enjoyed them, not as much as these, but I did enjoy them.
Kind of tough, but they were like, they had that same feeling, it was just as much work when it's maybe just a few less memorable characters, although you get some of these coming back. Apparently,
bringing us back to the world.
Yeah, it was fine. It was nothing like, prequels or sequels or reboots. It was very much like all the same quality, and you feel like you're still watching the same story continuing or going behind and starting over into the beginning. So do you have any stories from real life where Lord of the Rings had any effect on you, or anecdotes?
No, I mean, no, it just kind of consumed my life for a year. I mean, this is after they all came out.
Okay, yeah, because it took 6 years to get all the movies, right? Yeah.
When we owned the DVD, my roommate and I would sit there and watch them a lot. We spent a lot of time with them, and I definitely spent more time with them than she did. But like I mentioned before, her name was Sam.
Yeah. And
she made me a t-shirt that said, "My friend Sam went to the crack of Mount Doom, and all I got was this lousy t-shirt."
Hey, well, she's your Sam,
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you know enough about this movie to keep up with me and teach me a couple things.
Yay.
I actually have a bit of a Lord of the Rings real life connection as well. Yeah, because before I actually was married to my current wife, 2 years back. The day before we were going to go do the legal part of it, we did the legal part and then we did like the real like festive destination wedding part, like, later on. But we were still waiting for my ring to arrive. Like she had her ring, of course, I took care of that. But mine was like a special order and it still hadn't arrived. And we were going to go get legally married with only one of us had a ring. So that ain't going to work. So we came up with a very good last minute plan, thanks to her and her sister's quick thinking, and ordered me a very, very quickly delivered by Amazon one ring to rule them all. It was like a very, very cheap, probably like $10 or whatever, but it was the ring. It was the precious for me. So I ended up with that ring, on my finger for the initial getting married thing. And
wow.
And it has not yet been destroyed, but I got the other one. So, but the precious is still in my possession. So every once in a while, I'll just look at it and, have to turn back and I feel its pull. I feel it's only a $10 trinket, but
I'm sure it was more than $10 just to make you feel better.
with the shipping, yeah. But it's powerful, it's powerful.
Yes. I had the watch. I had a watch that had the Elvish written all the way around it.
Oh, okay. Let's be, and only in fire or in heat, or it's always there?
No, it was always there. It was
you
a gold.
You got to warm it up.
Don't have to. Well, maybe my body warm
like a mood ring. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this has been very awesome. I know we've run over an hour here, but it's going to be just like the movies. Every minute.
You'll cut it down.
Yeah, it's not as long as the movies, which is a relief, I guess, to some. And I don't know if we left anything out or anything else you want to add here about Lord of the Rings before we return from this unexpected journey.
No, I guess we agree that we both love the movies. So
we do. And I don't know anybody who doesn't. I mean, I know people who think they just can't keep all the characters straight, but you just watch it,
Yeah.
It's a little easier to follow than the Marvel Cinematic Universe and all those Avengers backstories, at least for me. And you don't need like a million issues of comic books to reference to figure out, oh, that's why that happened. Or that's what that little cube is that he's carrying around. That's what the ring does. That's what the glove does.
Yeah.
Like that.
They keep reminding you how powerful the ring is.
The ring, that's it. It's just the ring. That's all it is. It's like really a subliminal promotion for marriage, I think, and how important it is to have. But hey, we've gone there and back again. That's about all the Lord of the Rings we could talk about today, huh?
Yeah, that was fun.
It's pretty epic. Yeah.
It's been a few years.
But it's all engraved in our brains forever, I think.
It is.
Not that you shouldn't own them all on Blu-ray, but yeah, they're hard to forget, these films.
Yeah.
So, hey, this was really fantastic. It was so great having you on the podcast and hope to have you back again.
Thanks for having me. I loved it.
Oh, well, great. I'm so happy you enjoyed it. And, I'm grateful for your participation.
Oh, please.
No. But just let me say once and for all, you bow to no one.
Aw.
But yeah, it's awesome having you on. And I hope you'll be back again. I noticed you bought a whole new microphone get up for this, so you're looking to delve into podcasting sometime in the future, or you just want to sound better on your Zooms?
I just feel like as an actor, we have a lot of voiceover auditions nowadays from home and regular auditions from home. So a good mic is always good to speak to and speak into. That's
what I say to myself every day. Thank you. All right. Well, hey, let's do this again as soon as possible, which is maybe sooner than we think. Awesome. And I'll catch you on the next one. You take care.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Adieu.
Bye.
What are you still doing here? That's the end of the podcast. There's nothing more. What do you want, fireworks? There aren't any.